Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Christian Music Roast podcast. I'm your favorite host, Brendan, and I'm also your only host, Brendan. So it's great to see you guys back. Remember, if you like what you're listening to or watching, streaming, putting on in the gym while you're working out and everything, to like, follow, and subscribe. And thank you for tuning in again. Today, I'm back with a very special guest. We had him as our first ever guest 2 years ago already. This podcast has been going for 2 years. I had to do the math because you were on Winter Jam 2022, and we're now in
20,
2025.
23.
23, my bad. 23. Like I said, we've been doing this podcast for a long time now, and all these dates are blending together. But Sean, it's great to have you back.
Man, I'm happy to be on. This is really cool.
And if you guys are new to this podcast and like you've only been following along for the last few months with joining in the journey, Sean was used to be Sean B. He's now Sean Rodriguez. He was our first ever guest on this podcast. So just to see him come full circle and everything.
Yeah,
And
man. That is awesome. It's crazy to think back, like how when I first met you and everything that you're doing, and then fast forward, and yeah, it's really cool to see it come back around.
And I'm in the middle of a rebranding stage. Sean, speaking of rebranding, you know all about it. You were Sean B when we first met with you, and you're now Sean Rodriguez. Can you tell people who are listening why you decided to rebrand and everything?
Yeah, definitely. I think, for me, something that was really important before I had the opportunity to step into full time music ministry, I was actually a family pastor. And that comes from the legacy of ministry in my family, actually. So, my grandfather, William Rodriguez, he is a pastor at a church called Christ Center Church in Denver, Colorado. And so, for me, I just felt it was really important as I step into the season of full time ministry through music. I wanted to honor that legacy, that history, and use my real name as, just kind of going forward, say, all right, hey, I'm a Rodriguez doing
Mhm.
ministry as well, and spreading God's word. And so it's been really cool to be able to just kind of pick that up. And obviously, he's proud, and I hope to continue to do this. So yeah.
And just because I'm wondering, probably some other people are wondering, was B like a middle part of your middle name, or is it just something like you came up with?
So B was a call to action, and so really it was, in the hip hop world, you always, I came out of the hip hop world, and you always do something kind of like thought provoking or something. So B was BE, and it was a call to action. So it was basically saying, be the light of the world, be the love of God, be the hope to the world, be this, whatever God has called you to be that. Because I really believe that, man, everybody has a very unique purpose, and sometimes we miss that purpose because we get wrapped up in this box that life puts us in. And, for me specifically, I came out of the inner city, and there is very much an inner city box that tells you, there's no life outside of this. But what God created you to be calls you to step outside of that box. And so the B was just kind of a call to action, like, hey, start becoming what God called you to be.
Awesome. I was wondering because some people are wondering, like, it's like it was Sean B. Rodriguez, and now
Yeah,
he Sean B. Then Sean Rodriguez, and what's next? Sean B. Rodriguez. You never know.
right.
What could be
No,
what?
we're Sean Rodriguez. That's what we're saying there.
I'm just saying, some people would be like because we both know about rebranding. Like I've been rebranding the podcast since like October, like
Yeah.
revamping everything. So it's cool to see you're. I'm not the only one that's revamping, I guess per se, and
Yeah.
best of luck with the Sean Rodriguez name going forward. Um, you've released a few new songs as Sean B. Then you decided to revamp to Sean Rodriguez or rebrand, however you want to call it, revamp, rebrand, or all the same thing.
Yeah.
You had a new song called "It Is Finished." Can you tell us a little bit about that song?
Man, it is I got a lot to say about that song. So it features the coolest people that I've ever met in the Christian music industry, and that is Disciple. Man, Kevin Young, that guy he is 100% the real deal. Like he whatever, whatever a Christian is supposed to be, Kevin is that,
Okay.
and so I love him. I love his heart, and he is incredibly talented. So on one end, it was awesome getting to partner with these Christian rock legends. On the other end, the way that this song came about was really God inspired as well. It wasn't one of those like, let's get in the studio together and let's write a hit song. Let's do it. I was literally at the mall with my friends, and we were sitting down in the middle area, and we were like, hey, you know what would sound cool is something like, it is finished. And we are like, oh yeah, but then what if we came in and like, bah, like, and so it just kind of like we wrote this song in the middle of the mall. It was really weird. um, And to see it becoming this now, it's been number one on Christian rock radio for 4 or 5 weeks now. And, just it's doing things on iTunes and all of that. It's just been really crazy to see, um, you know, we had just this spark of creativity, this moment of fun. There was no pressure. There was no, hey, lock yourself in a room and write a hit. There was none of that. It was just fun. And I think it's reflecting now in how the song is performing. And what one more fun piece of that, we started writing that song during Winter Jam, and that was the season that it was in. We were on an off week of Winter Jam, and we literally wrote that song. And then the producer that I was working with, I said, bro, could you get me like a soft demo so I can perform this at Winter Jam tomorrow? And he's like, I got you. So we wrote the song, we recorded a demo, and we turned it around and performed a piece of it the very next day. And so it was just like, it was just crazy. It was fun. This song was spontaneous right from the get go. And man, I had a blast working on it.
That is very cool. And speaking of finished work, you're going to have an EP with the same name. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a few
Let's go.
minutes.
Yep.
We have other songs off the album like Honey and Jesus Will and everything. And can you tell us a little bit what like made because it is finished as like heavy rock, like a more hard upbeat song, but then you go to Jesus Will, which is more like a slow worshipy type song. So what made you go from like one genre to a complete opposite end of the spectrum?
Man, I love that question. So, like I said earlier, I was a family pastor before I stepped into full time music. And one very important thing about being a family pastor is that you are speaking to the family. You are not just speaking to one demographic, one age group, one anything. And I also come out of a church that's very culturally diverse as well. And so, you're talking to multiple ages, different backgrounds, different all kinds. And so not everybody receives a message the same way. You have to speak a language that relates. You have to give, metaphors and analogies that people can grab onto. And so for me, I think it's really important to extend that ministry into music. And not everybody consumes music the same way. Not everybody enjoys the same kind of music, but everybody needs the same message of hope. And so I said, let's intentionally do some genre playing. Let's do some stuff different, and let's speak to the younger generation, the middle generation, the older generation, the people from different cultures, from different backgrounds. Let's do that on purpose, and let's just take this aspect of ministry and plant it into music.
That's really cool. And what we won't talk about every song on this EP because we want to spoil like every song on the EP for the people who are
Right.
listening. We
Yeah.
also released the song Honey with Howie Well. Sorry, not it took me a minute. Haley Well, Haley Well.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Howie, if you're watching this, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I apologize now. Um, it's really cool to see you're partnering up with them. So that song's Honey. That's gonna be on the EP. How many songs are gonna be on this new EP that's coming out soon?
Oh, that's a good question. I want to say six or seven. Um, yeah, off the top of my head, I actually don't remember, but there's about six or seven.
And for those who are watching it, it's gonna be dropping at the end of this month. We're in January. I think it's You said January 31st, is it?
January, with the last Friday of January, so maybe
Yep.
the
31st.
there you go.
Because I'm leaving for Nashville on January 31st. I'll be in Nashville for like 3 days.
Hey,
So
nice.
my flight. I'll listen to it on my flight.
There you go.
It's only like a 40-minute flight, so perfect timing.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
But anyway, can you tell us a little more about this EP? If there's anything else you want to share about this EP?
Yeah, I'm excited for the overall message of this. I'm excited for the journey that the songs were written on. Every song has a really cool story, a really cool message behind it, and it was just really something that I'm proud of it, because we stepped out and we did do different genres. We did have different styles of music, but the messaging all comes back to God has a purpose and a plan for your life. There is upbeat, energetic ways that we give you that message, like in It Is Finished. And there are, down, kind of heart wrenching ways that we give you that message, like in Jesus Will. That song came out of a very tough season in my life and my family's life, but still the message is the same. God has a purpose for you. And if you're still here, then he's not done with you yet.
And that's really important to listen. So I recommend listening to those two new singles, or not, they're newer singles. I shouldn't say new. They've been out for a while now, but listen to the singles. Make sure to listen to Sean's EP when it drops. I've liked every song Sean has put out from his years. Like Center Stage, I was a Sean B year, but
Yeah,
like
yep.
maybe is going to be just as good, or even better, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Flash forwarding outside of EP World, it's a new year. We're now in January of 2025. Do you have any events coming out this year and things are going to be out? I know like you're going to be at Unity Festival
Yep.
because it's announced now. I can say that out loud.
Yeah, there you go.
But
Yeah,
do
so
you have
I'll be
do you
doing
have
Unity Fest. Very excited. I actually get to host that one as well. So I got to do that for the first time last year, and that was a blast. That was a unique, one of a kind experience for me, and I love being able to connect with everybody in between all of the stuff. And so not only playing but being able to host Unity has become very special. So I'm honored to be a part of that again this year. Other things in Michigan, Revive Fest in Leonidas. I'll be playing there. They'll have Jordan St. Cyr. He's the only artist that they've been. I'm sorry, not Jordan St. Cyr. Colton Dixon. Jordan St. Cyr was last year. Colton Dixon this year. He's the only artist that they've announced so far. But I know the lineup behind the scenes, and it's going to be a good one. So very excited to be out there in Michigan a couple times. Kingdom Bound out in New York. We have just I love the festival world. You know, I grew up going to Christian festivals. They were the thing that I looked forward to the most when I was a teenager. And so now being on the other side of it, getting to play those is very, very cool to me. And it's just kind of like it's one of those dream come true, how cool is God kind of moments. And so very excited, a lot of live stuff going on. And as more announcements are made, obviously I'll be able to share more.
this is going to sound crazy, but I've never been to a festival.
Stop.
I'm
Are
not.
you serious?
Okay, take that back. There's a thing called City Fest. I went to one day, but then I did stage crew another day. I don't really count it as a festival. It was like a 2 day thing type and whatever. But I was
Okay.
only for like a couple hours. But I've never been like full out to a festival.
Dude, you have to go. Like you got to go. The environment is wild. When me and my team go, we do our set, but then we like go and try to blend into the crowd and like, you know, we visit the snack carts and we do all the activities and stuff like that. Like it's fun. Go with friends. It's definitely a group thing. You will love it.
I might have to take your offer up on that. Say like,
Come on. Yep. Get out to Unity this year. Let's go.
um, flash forwarding. We just have a few extra minutes with you today. We talked about your plans for this year. Do you have any other plans this year outside of touring or the new EP? Do you have like anything else you're working on? If you can,
Yeah.
I don't want to overstep boundaries because I know some artists are like, I'm working on something, but I can't tell you.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I do I have a song that may or may not come out closer to summertime that I'm very excited about, and so yeah, that's what that is. And I guess I could share. Well, yeah, it's a song basically about purpose. Like I said, my whole ministry, my whole message is what I want you to know is that you have purpose and that God's not done with you. And so, you know, you look back at the Israelites on their way to the promised land, and they spent so much time in the desert, right? They made bad choices and they spent time in the desert. However, although they made bad choices, God didn't give up on them. God still had a plan for them. So, although they were in the wilderness, they were not left there. God did not just leave them alone. He didn't abandon them at that point. And so, you know, this message that there is hope on the other side, that there is something more for you. That's really what I want to bring in this next song. I'm really excited about it. Something on the other side, more hope. There is purpose in everything that God does. And so that's what I'm pumped about.
So the song's Purpose 2.0.
Maybe we'll see.
That's what you're gonna name it. I'm kidding. But Sean, thank you again for joining me, and it's great to see you coming back after, like I said, 2 years of having the channel. You were our first ever guest star. You were episode 12, actually, and
Wow.
at the time of recording, I've been posted all my episodes, but this is episode 108.
Ooh, let's go.
Uh,
Congratulations. That's
well,
huge.
it's like almost like 100 episodes later, so it's nice to catch up with you again. And thanks for tuning in again.
Thank you for having me back on, and congratulations on cracking 100. That's awesome.
And everyone that are tuning in, make sure to follow Sean's music. His new EP comes out at the end of this month. I don't know if this episode is going to be up the week of beforehand, but make sure to check out his songs, new EP when it comes out. And we'll see you next time on the Christian Music Bros podcast. Take care, everyone.
Yes.